Hello, welcome to MooMooMath. In this video, I'd like to talk about 45 study tips to help you succeed and make A's. Do you need to improve your grades? Or maybe you want to keep the same grades but reduce the amount of study time. These study habits and tips are what top students practice on a daily basis. As you watch the video, find one or two new habits you can begin today. And do this once a month and your grades will improve and you will become a more efficient student. Let's get started with 45 study tips. Study tip 1. Organize with color. This may include many different items. You can set up your notebook based on colors. You can also set up your folders and put some color in your notes and note cards. Your brain likes colors, and this can be really helpful when organizing. Study tip 2. Reward yourself with study breaks, but move during these breaks. Your brain needs oxygen, and this movement also helps to wake you up. The movement can be walking, push-ups, stretching. It doesn't matter, just move. I personally like to walk during breaks. Study tip 3. Do the work. At some point, you have to put in some work. If you want to run a good marathon, you have to run the miles. If you want to be good at guitar, you have to practice. If you want to be good at anything, at some point, you have to work at it. The same goes to learning new schoolwork. Study tip 4. Use a planner and check it daily. When life gets more complicated and you have several classes at a time, it helps to keep up with everything. This is when a planner can be your best friend. Some people like a paper planner or an electronic version. It doesn't matter as long as you check it often. Study tip 5. Avoid weapons of mass distraction. We all have our items that distract us and send us off in another direction. These may include a phone, computer, or even other people. You will get more done in a shorter amount of time if you can avoid these distractions. Study tip 6. Draw pictures or diagrams in order to help you memorize information. Your brain likes to make connections and have hooks to hang materials on. These pictures and diagrams help accomplish this and can be fun to create. Study tip 7. Just say no to multitasking. In a perfect world, we could memorize a list, solve math problems, and check Instagram all at the same time. But research has found that multitasking actually increases mistakes and it extends the time it takes to complete a task. Study tip 8. Use a timer. A timer is a simple tool that helps you stay focused. You can set the timer for a set amount of study time and stay focused until it goes off. It can also be used to time your study breaks, which can become longer than your study time if you're not careful. Study tip 9. Get adequate sleep. Research has found that humans live longer, have less disease, age slower, and generally function better on 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Study tip 10. Change rooms while studying. Research has found that if you study different subjects in different rooms, your recall increases for each subject compared to studying everything in the same room. Just make sure the new room is free of distractions and quiet. Study tip 11. Repeat what you have studied to another person. This is helpful in a couple ways. First, it gives you an idea of whether or not you know the material. And second, it is a method of repetition that your brain uses to help you memorize new material. Study tip 12. 80% of success in anything is just showing up. Make studying and learning new material and improving your grades a habit and a goal. Study tip 13. Organize your notebooks every 2 weeks. If you have a set date when this will take place, you will increase the odds of this happening. For instance, you could tell yourself you will clean and organize your notebooks the 1st and 15th of every month. Study tip 14. Convert your notes into flashcards. Highlight the most important areas of your notes and then write these highlighted areas on the flashcards for quick review. Study tip 15. Create a story. If you need to memorize random facts or items that seem unrelated, try making a sentence or a story out of these facts. Sometimes the crazier the story, the easier it is to remember. Study tip 16. When memorizing lists, countries, or numbers, chunk the material into smaller groups. These groups should contain 3 or 4 items. For instance, we memorize phone numbers by breaking a long number into chunks. Study tip 17. Quiz yourself. After you've studied your material for a period of time, create a quiz, take it, and see how you are doing. Creating a quiz is simple, quick, but very effective in learning new material. Check out Quizlet. Study tip 18. Set goals. There have been countless books, seminars, websites, and apps that cover goal setting. The reason why so many people write about it is because goals work. Your brain likes to know where it is going, and goals help accomplish this. Study tip 19. Memorize by visualizing. When memorizing facts, places, associate what you are memorizing with a visual picture. For instance, if you had to learn names of people, associate the first letter of the name with an animal, and then visualize this person as the animal. Study tip 20. Actively listen in class. When you actively listen to your teacher, you reflect on what is being spoken. You are able to create questions, and you can paraphrase what was spoken to others. Study tip 21. Use mnemonics to help memorize facts. For example, Roy G. Biv helps you remember the colors. SOHCAHTOA has been used in geometry. Think of a mnemonic as a hook that your brain uses to hang information on. Study tip 22. Record your notes on your phone and listen to them. If you want to go for a walk or just move around, quickly record your notes on your phone, put in your earbuds, and start moving and learning. With a little research, you can find many of the topics you are studying already have recordings you can download. Study tip 23. Stay hydrated. A hydrated brain is a happy brain and is more focused than a dehydrated brain, so drink up that water. Study tip 24. One key is the number 3. If your teacher repeats something 3 or more times in class, there is a very high likelihood it will be on the test. Make note of this by writing down these key statements. Be bold with the bold. Study tip 25. The words written in bold text are important, and learning these words will help you succeed in class. These words can be highlighted, converted into flashcards, written in your notes, or any other technique that helps you remember these important words. Study tip 26. Learn to play a musical instrument. You may be thinking, how is this a study tip? Think of the brain as a muscle. A strong muscle can run fast and lift heavier weights than a weak muscle. Learning to play the musical instrument is like working out your brain and can be fun and relieve stress. Study tip 27. Turn in every assignment. In your daily planner, have a section that reminds you to turn in your assignments, or take a second and set reminders on your phone, or even use the old method of writing a reminder on your hand. Bottom line is, turn in every assignment. Study tip. Plan to avoid the cram. Set a goal of never waiting till the last second to cram for a test. Research has found test scores are higher when you study for a shorter amount of time, but over several days compared to trying to learn all the material in one sitting. Study tip 29. Repeat out loud material you need to learn. Repeating text out loud uses multiple parts of your brain, which in turn helps to increase neural pathways, which increases your chances of recalling the information at a later date. Study tip 30. Check out the app Todoist. If you love your iPhone and need help remembering assessments and what tasks need to get done, then you'll enjoy Todoist. I'll leave a link in the show notes. Study tip 31. Take a journey and memorize a list. Use a familiar route to help you memorize a list. First, identify a familiar route. Next, as you journey in your mind on this route, identify key landmarks. Next, you associate each item on your list with a familiar landmark. Study tip 32. Vary the type or method of material studied. Research has found that recall of new information improves when you vary what or how you study. For instance, during a study session, you might work on vocabulary, then read about the subject, and then maybe repeat to yourself a summary of what you learned. Train your memory. The more you memorize, the more efficient your brain becomes at memorizing new objects. Attempt to memorize interesting or helpful lists, facts, or names. Some popular choices are names of 50 states, digits of pies, past presidents. Find something interesting to you and start memorizing. Develop perseverance. At some point, to accomplish anything worthwhile, you must develop the skill of perseverance, or the ability to keep going even when you feel like quitting. An easy way to start is by picking one item each day and tell yourself you will not go to bed until the task is completed. Start with an easy task. Study tip 36. Daily exercise. Research has found overwhelmingly that exercise is healthy for the brain. A healthy brain gives you an edge when studying. So exercise each day. It's also a good stress reliever. Study tip 36. Create a graphic organizer. A graphic organizer helps you organize the material, and therefore the new information doesn't seem as random, which increases your chance of remembering this information. Focus, hook, recall. In order to memorize new material, get in the habit of practicing these 3 steps. Focus by eliminating distracting factors. Hook by using some method that allows your brain to create a hook like a mnemonic device or pictures. And finally, practice recall. You practice recall by testing yourself. This can include creating mini quizzes, telling someone else the new information, or answering questions about the new material. So remember, focus, hook, recall when memorizing new information. Study tip 39. Relate to your life. As you learn new material, try to relate this new material in any way to your own life and personal experiences. This will increase your odds of recalling the information later. Think of new information as a single apple in a large orchard. In order to remember new material, your brain has to find this information, much like finding a certain apple in a huge orchard. The more paths or signals pointing to the apple, the easier it is to find. If you can relate new information to your life, it provides your brain with additional pathways to this information, which increases the chance of recalling this information later. Create a song. Pick a song you like and create lyrics of the new information you are learning. Creating a song helps move information into long-term memory. I can still remember lyrics from songs I learned in high school, but can't even remember the teachers' names I had. Combine visual and verbal cues. The combination of visual and verbal cues is like supercharging your brain and gives your brain several different paths to retrieve the information later. For example, you are learning the steps of mitosis. You can draw a picture of each step, then have a label underneath, and then a short description. Study tip 42. Think like a detective. After your first test, carefully investigate the test to figure out your teacher's style and how they design your tests. If you break the code, this can be a huge advantage for other tests. Study tip 43. Use blue. Research says you remember best when it is written in blue. Be willing to do what others are not willing to do. Develop a mindset that you are willing to do whatever it takes to to improve your grades. And finally, study tip 45. Condense your notes or reading passages down to bullet points or lists. If you have pages and pages of notes, you can convert the notes into bullet points. Try to keep the bullet points short and to the point. As a result, you'll have nice condensed. By condensing the notes to bullet points, you will have a condensed version of many pages of notes that you can quickly review many times.